Welcome to the training video for creating training videos. Today we're going to cover everything you need to create a training video for the Lamar training library. So let's jump right in. Let's go over the 6 steps you'll need to create a successful video. First off is defining your objectives and creating a script, or what I sometimes call a video flow. Creating an objective list will ensure that you're covering the subjects needed while also giving you a backbone for your script or video flow. Once you have your objectives set, you can begin to see how you would like to present the information, how to group items into sections, and order the items in a way that makes the most chronological sense. I've noticed that there are 2 ways to determine what you're going to say in your video, and it will depend on what is most comfortable for you. The first way is to write out a script. This would be like writing a paper that you will later present in a speech. You will get to edit, revise, and perfect your script and give yourself something to read from when it comes time to record. The other option is creating a video flow. This would be more like a bulleted list. You would create section headlines and bullets as to the topics you want to touch on. When it comes time to record though, you would only know the topic and not exactly what you're going to say. Some people feel more comfortable free-flowing about the topic, while others would rather write out exactly what they're going to say. Just go with what works best for you. Whichever method you wish to use, please be sure to use Google Drive so the document can be shared once it's ready. Step 2. Creating the visuals for your video. In Photoshop, we're going to create graphics and slides that will later be edited into the video. Let's go over the specs for doing this. The size of your video will be 720p, which is 1280 pixels by 720 pixels at 72 dpi. There is a preset for this in Photoshop if you want to use it. Just go to File, New, and under Preset, select Film and Video. From here, go to the pull down and select HDV 720p and hit OK. This preset will automatically insert guides that mark the safe area for a video that gets broadcasted to TV. Since our video will be going on the internet, you can ignore these guides. You will need to make multiple layered PSDs. You can make one for each slide and use the Notes tool to give animation order. Another option would be to use groups or layer comps in a master PSD file. Just use whatever you feel most comfortable working with. These first 2 steps are not strict and mainly up to you on how you want to work. The main goal is that you can hand off a script and graphic content that the video editor can use to create a video around. It should be organized with consistent naming conventions between the script and PSDs, and double check for any spelling errors or mistakes. Step 3. This step is optional, but if you have a certain animation in mind for your slides, please notate that in the PSD or script. You can use the Notes tool in Photoshop if you have built a PSD for each slide, and if you are using a master PSD file for all the slides, please write animation notes inside the script. You can detail out the order in which you want the content on the slide to appear, and you can also get detailed and ask for fades, slide-ins, swipes, blurs, etc. If you have an idea for a more complex animation, then it would be best to discuss it with the animator to see what is possible. Step 4. Setting up the screen recorder. We're going to be using Cam Studio to do the screen recording. If you go to the Cap folder, under Screen Recorder, you will see the program and the codec installer. Go ahead and drag this to your desktop, and then double-click the codec installer. Go through the normal install, and hit OK. Once that's completed, go back to the Cam Studio folder and open recorder.exe. Once you open Cam Studio, you'll need to set up a couple things. Under Options, Video Options, you're going to want to change the compressor to Cam Studio Lossless Codec. Under Configure, you can set how fast and how good the compression is. Fastest means a lower quality video, but your computer will run faster, while 9 will give you the best quality. The default of 6 will work best on most computers. Under frame rates, you're going to want to set it to 50/20. So if you check the auto adjust and lock capture and playback rates, you can adjust this slider until it's reaches 50/20. Go ahead and hit OK. The next option is your cursor options. You want to set this to show cursor, use actual cursor, which is the default. You can also set it to highlight the cursor, adjust the size of the highlight, and also enable visual feedback. As you can see here, when you click, you'll get a either red or blue dot signifying a left button click or a right button click. Next is your audio options. You can allow Cam Studio to record from the microphone for you, and you can set that up here. I can select Blue Snowball, leave the default settings, and Cam Studio will record the audio for you. You'll see in the next step that it is best to use Adobe Audition for this, but if you don't have Adobe Audition, you can use Cam Studio to record your audio. Since it's best to use Audition, I like to leave Do Not Record Audio set in Cam Studio. This will allow Cam Studio to focus only on recording the video. Under Program Options, we're going to set up a couple more things. So you only have to set the settings once. Click Save Settings on Exit. Also, keep Capture Translucent and Layered Windows checked. Under Play AVI File when recording stops, select Do Not Play AVI File. Under the Temporary Recording directory, go ahead and use the Cam Studio Temp Files directory. Here in the Output directory, you can specify a folder that you would like to save your files in. So go ahead and create your folder, and then use this menu to navigate to it, and hit OK. And last is setting up the region. Since you are going to be in 720p, you're going to want to use a fixed region and set the width and height to 1280 by 720. You're going to want to check Fixed Top Left Corner and drag corners to pan and hit OK. Now when we hit the record button, you will see flashing squares. You can select these squares and move it to where you would like. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop and cancel. If we go back to our fixed region, we can begin to adjust where the squares are on our screen. So I'm going to type in 320 and 150. It's best to keep this recording region on the right side of your screen. This will make it to where when you right click, the menu comes up to the left instead of the right and will be on the screen. If you mess up while you're recording, you don't have to stop and start over. Just take a pause, go back a sentence, and do the motions and repeat the sentence again. The editor will be able to fix the mistake in editing. Once you're done recording your video, press stop, give it the appropriate file name, and remember this file name because you will use it again once it comes time to save the audio. And hit save. If you're having any trouble with Cam Studio, reach out to the editor and he can come by to help set it up. Step 5. Setting up for audio recording. So for the audio recording, we're going to use Audition. Once you get into Audition, you're going to want to create a new waveform. The way you do this is go to File, New, Audio File. Here you're going to name it to match your screen recording. So for me, this would be Step 5 Audio Recording. You can name this whatever you want as long as you follow the naming convention that you followed for your videos. As long as they match, we'll know how to match them up. We want a sample rate of 48,000. If it's set to 41 or 32, go ahead and bump it up to 48. You want it in stereo and the bit depth at 16. Hit OK. And once you have this ready to go, you want to ensure that your mic's set up properly. So you can do that by going to Edit, Preferences, Audio Hardware. Here you have your default input and default output. We're going to be focusing on the input. With my system, I have a microphone set up into my sound card. If you are using the Blue Snowball, when you drop this down, if it's plugged into your PC, you will see an option for Blue Snowball. So select whatever microphone you'll be using and hit OK. Now we can go to the record button, which is found right here. If for some reason your screen doesn't look like mine, go to Window, Workspace, and set it to the default. So now that that's all set up, you can click the record button to begin recording. You'll notice Audition will start recording the waveform, and if you don't see the exact thing I see here, sometimes Audition will be zoomed in. You can make sure that it's zoomed all the way out by clicking this button here. Since I'm already zoomed out to full, I don't have the option to click it. So it's okay for right now. My voice is hitting about -15 to -9 dB, which is low. And also when I stop talking, you can see there's a good amount of noise in between the spaces. Don't worry about this. The noise will be removed later in the editing process, and your volume of speech will be bumped up. So this is an example of what the audio sounds like without any sweetening, and this is an example of what it sounds like after the audio has been sweetened and all noise reduced. So once you're done with your recording, hit the stop button, and then here we can go to File, Save. Save it out to the folder that you would like and hit OK. Once you've saved your audio file, you can repeat the process, create a new audio file, name it, and then start again. In the middle of a recording, if you mess up, don't worry about it. Just pause, go back to the beginning of the sentence, and repeat. The editor will be able to take out the flub and edit it together seamlessly as if the mistake was never made. If you need to, for some reason, step away from the computer in the middle of your recording, you're able to hit the pause button here, and Audition will pause the recording. Just hit pause again, and Audition will pick the recording back up. Let's move on to step 6. Step 6. So you have your script, your graphics, and all your stuff recorded and labeled correctly. Now it's time to put it in the oven. You will need to go into your cap folder and create a folder for your video. Inside that folder, you will need to create a PSD, video, audio, and assets folder. Your PSD slides will go inside the PSD folder, your screen recordings will go into the video folder, and your audio recordings will go into the audio folder. Any extra assets like images, videos, or sounds can be placed inside the assets folder. Be sure that you have backup of these files on your local machine and not moving them into cap, but instead copying them into your cap. Once that is completed, you can email the animator. Let him know where in your cap folder the assets reside, and also include a link to the Google Drive document of your script or video flow. So now you should be ready to create your own training video for the Lamar training library. I hope you enjoyed this video and have fun creating your next video. See you soon.